Hello, guys. Welcome to the Sports Doyen. We are back with our coverage of the footballing season. The Premier League kicks off in less than 24 hours right now as I speak. And by the time this will be out, I'm sure it's going to be less than 24 hours, way less than 24 hours. It's going to kick off with a very, very exciting clash between Brentford and Arsenal. We're going to talk about that a little later, but what a summer this has been for a lot of the English clubs. Manchester United have made a couple of signings. It's going to be difficult for me to not say that without a grin because as it stands, I'm still borderline happy and it can be more satisfactory, but let's say I shouldn't be too greedy. And Manchester City have broken the British record for transfers. They've signed and Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. Grealish, who stayed 16 years at the club, has left to Manchester City for £100 million fee, which is absolutely staggering. So just as we were trying to digest the fact that £100 million was spent on a player, Chelsea have swooped in with the second biggest transfer in British football history. They've signed Romelu Lukaku. They've technically done so. I mean, the official announcement is just a formality now. So we'll start straight with that. We'll start with Chelsea, and they're going to face Crystal Palace. I'm guessing they're at Stamford Bridge. Siddharth. It's going to be it's a very exciting Crystal Palace side this time. That's what everyone says every season. Uh, but you know that excitement only stays for a couple of weeks at the start. But under a new manager, a homecoming for one of the Premier League legends, Patrick Vieira, is going to be at the helm for Crystal Palace. Any jitters, or are you thinking this is going to be smooth sailing?
Anurag, I'll try to start from the point that you very much started. The only disappointment for me is that Lukaku is still not going to be playing the first game, most likely. And that is a disappointment. Why? Because if he does not play, we don't have an out and out goal scorer. And just telling you how important the Crystal Palace game is, but just because you look at the fixtures after that. We're playing Liverpool, we're playing Arsenal, we're playing Tottenham, we're playing City. And I only look at Google at this moment. I only look at Lukaku to be the goal scorer in this side. Because we've lost Hakim Ziyech, easily our best player in the preseason, and what a sad story that is. That's my biggest takeaway before the Crystal Palace game. Other than that, we pretty much look sorted because we don't have any other injuries. You have a Timo Werner. We know how we're going to line up against the Crystal Palace now that Hakim Ziyech is in there. Probably Pulisic and Mount come in that sense. It's going to be tricky, but we have been doing well against Crystal Palace. The past two games, we have scored 8 past them and only let off 1 goal. We know that they have invested highly in those 3 centre backs that they've signed. And we know what the state of the club was when they were ending the season last time around. So many questions around that side.
Yep.
I think they managed to put it together for the moment, and it's a very crucial game. I think most Chelsea fans will most likely be underrating this particular game because, but as I said, it's so important for us to begin with a bang because this has been the problem with Chelsea, right? You look at our successful seasons over the past decade. We get a good season, the very next season is so scary and so many shambles that we are we cannot hold that momentum together for a long time, and that's why we are not what Manchester City has done in these past 3-4 years with so much stability in their performances. So in that sense, Lukaku, we have, I think, I'm very happy with the signing because I would have been maybe 19 or if say 18, 20 more happy if we would have got Erling Haaland, but nonetheless, he's a world-class striker. He'll definitely. I am confident that he's going to be a hit because of the style of play. I like these bulky strikers when they come to Chelsea. Probably someone who.
And Inter Milan and Chelsea play sort of similar style of football, don't they? Right? Not at least under Tuchel.
Oh, that's what I was coming to. I don't think
Yeah,
it's that similar. It looks similar,
sort of.
but
Yeah.
I feel Lukaku is more likelier to the Conte style of play than the Tuchel style of play. Uh, uh,
Okay. As we
who
speak, Chelsea have announced Romelu Lukaku. Yeah,
okay,
the video is
guys,
out.
take over from here. I'm just gonna see that.
Okay, we're gonna give Siddharth a little bit of time for him to go and look at Romelu Lukaku's announcement video. That's quite funny. It's just, I think it's Yeah, it's a good video, I guess. They've spent a lot more time and money on this video than PSG have done on the Lionel Messi announcement. That we can say so. We're gonna get to the we'll get to the
That was
Manchester
a
City.
stadium tour, dude. That wasn't an
That
announcement
was a
video.
stadium tour, मतलब टॉयलेट दिखाना रह गया था बस.
And at the end, it wasn't even real Messi.
It was Mumbai City announcing
Yeah.
Apuya, not PSG
Oh yes.
announcing Messi.
Oof,
I think PSG finally ran out of money
finally.
Ooh.
this
Uh,
Oh, I
summer.
like the hashtag they've used. Look who's back.
which is the next
I
country
mean,
they're gonna dig for oil? Let's see. Uh,
Venezuela, I
Okay,
guess.
just a 10-second thing. This is what I read on Twitter.
yep.
So what people are thinking would happen with PSG is they don't expect Mbappe to stay at the season at the club
And
next
they're
season.
going to sign Ronaldo, is what
Yeah,
people are
They want to
that's
saying.
what
sign
I read.
Ronaldo.
Oof.
Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar.
See,
That's our
I think
dream
today we've just seen
team.
the pictures of Sergio Ramos and Lionel Messi hugging as like teammates, which was as sacrilegious as it gets. I'm sorry. Yes, big thumbs down to that. I did not enjoy that picture. And people have also been talking about potentially Real Madrid and PSG playing together. Casemiro goes, he lunges in on a tackle on Messi, and Sergio Ramos comes to hit Casemiro. And that's imagine,
Oh.
imagine all of that. So yeah, there is so much speculation, but we'll get back to the Premier League. We'll come to Sushil. Sushil, it's been a long time, and it's been a long
Yeah,
time since we've seen you or Liverpool make a transfer. So what did you make of the summer window? I know the last transfer you made was a good one, was a pretty good one. As United fans, I think we've been listening about Ibrahim Konate being linked to our club as well for a long time, linked to Chelsea and a lot of other Premier League clubs. That was a bloody good signing, but besides that, uh, it's a it's a it's a decent start. You could say so, better than the last time around. This time around, you have Norwich, someone you have tormented quite a lot of times in the past.
yeah. I think I'll come back to Norwich later. First, just about the summer and how it's gone. I think Konate is a great signing, man. And
Yeah.
you guys heard me, complaining about not having centre backs all of last season. So anything that addresses that problem is a positive for me. The other key thing this season, I think, is the fact that at least at this point, at the start of the season, a lot of our players are back to full fitness. Andy Robertson got injured, but that's a short injury. I don't think he'll be out for more than 2 or 3 weeks. So it's good to have the entire squad intact back in place, and we'll see how that develops over time. But I think at least in defense, we're better placed now than we were last season. I think even our backup right backs and left backs are back to full fitness. So there's some scope for rotation there. In midfield, I think that's where my concerns are. With Wijnaldum leaving, he's been a rock in this team for the last 3 or 4 seasons. He plays pretty much every game. He's the first name on the team sheet for Klopp. But now that he's gone, I'm a little concerned about where the minutes are going to be replaced from. And the reason I say that is while Adams had this long sort of stretch of injury-free football, you've had players like Ox and Kaita who have just been out for months on end. And now suddenly they are the ones who have to come in and fill that gap because Liverpool have not made a signing. So you have Thiago, you have Henderson, you have Fabinho. But beyond that, all of the other players are kind of shaky in terms of their
In terms of
injury record.
workload, he was
So
one and a half player, wasn't he?
Yep.
correct.
Yeah.
And how you're replicating not just his minutes, but his workload, like you mentioned, on the pitch is something that's a huge question mark. And so, in my opinion, that was a bad decision. But I also see where the club's coming from. In some senses, inspired by how Arsenal used to think when Wenger was the manager in the early 2000s. You don't want to keep a player past a certain age because it becomes harder and harder to, justify them in the later years of their contract. Coming to coming to Harvey Elliott, I think there's been a lot of chatter around him. I see him as a promising young player, but my only thing with him is, he was great with Blackburn last season. And we did have another player like that in our squad last season, Wilson, and it did pan out. Though he's still sort of figuring that out. But just having a good season in the championship's not enough. Obviously, Liverpool and the Premier League demand more. So we'll see how it pans out. I hope he becomes more like Trent than all the other youth players who haven't worked out for us. So to end it on Norwich, yeah, I mean, I love playing Norwich. I've loved playing them for, I think, 10 years now. And they become basically a yo-yo club in the Premier League, right? They go up and come down, and that's pretty much how they've been going back. So I'm not worried. And I think if you look at the initial 10 fixtures, although we are playing a lot of the bigger teams, it's not sort of compressed like Chelsea's fixtures are. It's a little spread out, it's a little easier, so that should give us some breathing room. And because the squad doesn't have too many new additions, you should be able to kick right into gear and start, racking up those points. And that's going to be important. I think after last season, getting some of that confidence back and getting all the players playing together, particularly Van Dijk, who's pivotal. We had 30 fewer points last season without him, so it'll be important to fit him back into the team and make sure that when it comes to the crux games later in the season, he's the one who's sort of leading us to victory in those games. So yeah, I think that those are my thoughts on Liverpool, and
And
we'll probably.
I've heard Andy Robertson is going to be out for a while. How long is that going to be?
I don't think it's long term. Like I was saying, I think it's 3 weeks if I'm not wrong. I
3 to
read
4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because yeah, I think they were scared that it was an ankle fracture, but it turned out to just be a sprain. So I think he should be fine. But yeah, I think 3 weeks is what they're saying, and I think Costa Simicas is going to be the one deputing for him, or James Milner. So we'll see. But yeah, it's good to actually have someone to fill in and not having to move Fabinho to one of those positions. So yeah, I think he'll be back soon. I think he'll be back before the end of the month.
That's lovely to listen, and that's Liverpool's optimism for this season. I mean, after winning the trophy in 2019, 2019 was it 2020? Yeah,
20.
2020. Yep.
2020.
It was quite the downfall, as Sushil mentioned. 30 points less than what they did the season prior to. So let's see what happens with Liverpool this season. Coming to their arch rivals, Manchester United, the club that I do support. Right now, I'm not going to speak quite vehemently on it. They've made two very good signings, something I've been pretty happy about, at least up until now. Manchester United have made the signings of Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund and Rafael Varane from Real Madrid. So Prathamesh, good start. I mean, at least up until the time Rafael Varane was signed, there was a lot of uh, talk in the press about United going in after 400 million players, like it always happens with United. And once Rafael Varane was sort of confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, it's all gone silent. But your assessment of what Manchester United have done thus far, and do you reckon is it complete for United to mount a decent enough challenge? And your thoughts on the Leeds game?
First of all, I mean, as much as I would like to say that transfer window has been basically what Glazers have been doing all the time that they have been here, I feel there's a little more brains involved to it this time. In terms of the way deals have been structured, the way players have come in. Now, I think with Rafael Varane, obviously there was a lot of issue with COVID and visa, which I don't think a lot could have been done about it from the club side. So I think that's worked out well. And honestly, I mean, I would have bitten your arm off. I would have told me this, 2, 3 months back. Rafael Varane coming to Manchester United. Probably, I mean, he's still what 27, 28. He's got a lot of time left in his career. One of the best defenders going around. Someone who complements Maguire pretty well. I mean that's a pretty different statement to say,
A
but
right-sided centre back, yeah.
yeah, a right-handed centre back, someone who is more dependable, someone who's rock solid, someone who can cover up for the gaps left by Maguire when Maguire goes forward, someone who is aerially sound as well. I think he's got all boxes ticked essentially. Uh, fingers crossed that he can create similar impacts to what a certain Virgil van Dijk did to Liverpool, but that is the expectation. That's the bracket in which Rafael Varane fits in. And that's the profile of the player. And you know that he's going to be someone who's going to be demanding from himself, from the team around. And that's where the optimism starts, right? With Maguire, Shaw, Varane, and Van Bissaka, we have a decent defense to look forward to. Whether it's collectively or individually, I think all of these players have it in them to keep more clean sheets, keep lesser of the stupider goals going in, and whoever is at the back, I think it most probably will be De Gea. So you have that optimism there. Um, what I honestly feel about Jadon Sancho is, I mean, a year too late, just like Bruno Fernandes maybe. But I mean, massive signing for United. First of all, the right-sided player playing on the right wing. And I mean, that's a new thing. I don't think I've seen that thing since Antonio Valencia, when Valencia was actually a forward player. So that's a massive thing for us. Obviously, Jadon Sancho can play multiple positions as well. I like the idea of people thinking that Rashford, Greenwood, and Sancho can be interchangeable within the game. They can actually have a very fluid combination going forward, which is very Sid का turn हो गया Sid. Sid has turned.
Yeah, you're good. He raised his hand and that
He
turns.
raised.
अरे no,
Lovely.
I was figuring out chat में क्या हो रहा है. I didn't know this happened. Sorry.
All right, lovely. Yep,
Yeah.
Prathamesh.
Yeah. So I mean that option that we can line these front three up and they can be interchangeable is very interesting, because I look at the Liverpool dynamic with Firmino, Mane, and Salah, and how well that has worked over the years. And as much as I hate that, the dynamic working out for them, but I think it would be good for us to have that. So yeah, impressed with the two signings, but again, we haven't filled out the hole that we needed to. The most I felt that was the defensive midfielder.
Yep.
It looks highly unlikely. Not really happy with people talking about Ander Herrera, the most passionate player that they've ever seen returning to the club, because I don't think he adds a lot of value to the club at this point of time in his career. I think probably had we managed to keep him back in the day, it would have been a different story. Kamavinga, again, I don't know how much I am looking forward to another French player who possibly wants to play for PSG to come into United and then take it as a stepping stone. So, as much as I would not want to accept this, I feel that somewhere down the line we're going to be back with McFred at some point in the season, or else we're going to see the new dynamic of Matic and Van de Beek. And as I said, McFred Kushagra just lost all his hope in life.
Yep.
So yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think that
all of
required
these.
any pointing. It totally grabbed all the attention.
So yeah, I
it's
mean
Yep.
it's it's amazing. I forgot Van de Beek was at the club. Honestly, I haven't thought about him in a long time.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah,
But
that's
but
that's the dynamic of
just
the
a
club.
small update on Donny Van de Beek. He's grown. He's become a lot bulkier. I think
Yep.
he looks more Premier League ready this season. If he doesn't get minutes, even
Yeah.
after having done so much work on his physicality, then God knows
Yeah.
what's his future.
I think with Van de Beek, he's done a little bit of a Greenwood transformation that we saw during COVID time. That we saw Greenwood leaving like a slim guy, and then he came up with like a little more bulkier. The similar way that's what happened with Van de Beek, and now I think he's better suited. We saw a Matic Van de Beek combination in preseason that worked pretty well.
Yep.
So happy for that. And talking about Leeds, Leeds is always a worrying fixture because we don't know what to expect from them rather than what to expect from us. We will most likely be without Varane. We will
Yep.
definitely be without Cavani. We'll be without Rashford, who is going to be fine all soon, pretty soon, I guess, as well. But we are going to be without a few key players, and you have to expect the likes of. I think this is a game that's made for Dan James, right? High energy, keep running. This is what this game is made for him, and he played well the last time we played Leeds as well. So yeah, a little optimistic about this game. Don't want to be too optimistic in a sense that I still don't feel this is a title-winning team because, or either a title-challenging team because we definitely miss one quality midfielder. So this could be probably if we can wrap something up. If not now, maybe in January we still have a chance of probably competing for it. But I think we are a midfielder away from properly challenging for the title. But for Leeds, I think we should be good enough to beat them, in spite of the fact that we still don't have Cavani, probably our best striker at the club in terms of what he can offer in games, especially like these.
And not even Rashford. Yeah.
Yeah, not even Rashford to add to that.
Yep. Let's see. I mean, yes, I think from even I would agree with the fact that defensive midfielder, when you don't have one good defensive midfielder, it adds a big hole to the side. But there aren't many options in the market right now. There is Declan Rice, who's going to cost a lung or a kidney right
Yeah,
now
he
for
cost
even
like a
for a
Dubar
club.
Basmati, man.
He's just too expensive. I don't know. I don't know, for some reason Wilfred Ndidi has not been anywhere close to the transfer rumors. Maybe Leicester have affirmed their interest that they will not be selling him anywhere. Besides that, you go outside of England, there aren't many uh, CDMs who've been making headline who've been giving out headline performances. So let's see. That's about it for Manchester United. They will be facing the Leeds United at the Old Trafford to kickstart their campaign. Let's see what happens with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his team this season. Coming to arguably the fixture of the opening weekend, which is Tottenham Hotspur taking on against Manchester City. There are so many lovely internal stories to it. A certain Harry Kane who's been declining to come to practice sessions because he wants a
Fun
move
will
out.
be if Harry Kane plays for Spurs in the first half and City in the second.
Or he scores a own goal for Tottenham.
Okay, that will be quite. I think that will be the breaking point for Daniel Levy. I think then he'll definitely accept whatever the bid is coming in. But as it stands, Kushagra, what we are here listening to is, at least in what we've heard in the last few weeks, is Daniel Levy wants 160 or nothing, 160 million pound, not even euros. That's what he's demanding, and in one way, you can understand why he wants so much. Maybe if even if the player is not worth that much, it's a statement that he wants to keep the player at the club. But I don't think Spurs or even Kane thinks Spurs is that attractive a prospect for them, for him to stay one more season, especially having seen Jack Grealish, one more quality player going in there. It's going to be tough for Tottenham in the next 15, 20 days, isn't it?
Very difficult. It's been a difficult. I think it was difficult. I think since March ended. They were on in a bit of form before that. That was the end of Mourinho, and him getting sacked a week before the Carabao Cup final, and then things were just meandering for a bit. Then Gary Neville had that interview with Harry Kane in May, if I'm not wrong. Harry Kane already stated that I want to leave. बट मुझे समझ में नहीं आता है एज इन व्हाट इज ही केटरिंग फॉर व्हाट इज ही लुकिंग फॉर इज ही इवन रियलिस्टिक उसने हाउ डिड ही इवन बिलीव डैनियल लीवी व्हेन डैनियल लीवी सेड कि हाँ एक साल बाद वी लेट यू गो डिड ही नॉट नो दैट इवन after that year he would still have 3 more years at least with Spurs and 3 years in this day and age if you have a contract like that if you especially if you're a player like Harry Kane who absolutely reinvented himself last year if you look
England,
at
the
his
England captain, a World Cup Golden Boot winner, and who's had such a brilliant Euro campaign. Obviously, you can expect.
and and
Yeah,
yeah, not just that, yeah.
yeah,
It's if you look at the number of assists Harry Kane gave out in the last 6 seasons, if you exclude the last season,
yeah.
the total number of assists in the 6 seasons prior to that is lesser than the 17 assists he gave out last year. So, मतलब he became a playmaker, yeah. 17 assists, that's like a number 10 का stat, yeah.
Yeah.
मतलब you'd be really happy with your really happy with your number 10 if he or she is giving you 17 to 18 assists a season. That'll be insane.
Yep.
And Harry Kane did that with around 40 odd goals as well overall in the season. So it was crazy. So if Levy is asking for 160 mil for Harry Kane, I don't think he's pretty much out of his depths there because you have the examples of Neymar and Mbappe, and he's not wrong to value him around Neymar and Mbappe. जैसे रेगे said ना अगर हालांड साइन किया होता तो he would have also been 140 150 mil this year if anyone
Yep.
wanted to sign Haaland. So it's pretty much on those expected lines. It'll be interesting अगर City pay कर दे. I just find it funny. Everyone lost their shit when Maguire was for 80. Now everyone's for 160 and no one's crying about it. But it's okay. Fair enough. It's only when the big clubs make moves, people start crying. It's not really, when irrelevant clubs with 1,000 fans for
KD, you are
number
supposed
10
to represent
unveiling.
Man City, but yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
it's okay, it's okay. But I'm talking about the Premier League in general. I'm not really
Yeah,
representing City.
yeah,
It's
Isn't
a
fine.
basic
Grealish
fact.
earning
It's a
700
basic fact. City are gonna thrash Tottenham. I mean, I don't even feel like scared of predicting this. City are just gonna run ragged with them. And to be honest, Spurs are Spurs. They may try to hold true because City are missing their key players at this point. Phil Foden is not in the with the squad. Of course, he's injured. The English players have only just started coming back for City, which is namely their most important defender, John Stones, of course. And congratulations to him. He's revived his career. 5 years ka naya contract he signed. So that's fantastic for him. But all in all, I think it's been great for Man City. I think I think I squarely put them as the favorites to retain their title and maybe even go deeper in the Champions League. While for obvious reasons, we will all make someone else the favorite in the Champions League right now. But I think Man City are very well placed. As far as Spurs are concerned, I think Christian Romero is a good signing. It's a good signing. I think Golini as a reserve keeper is a good signing who can probably put pressure on Lloris and maybe even replace Lloris in the future, right? So I think that's a good signing.
Also Brian Gill.
Some
Brian
yeah,
Gill.
Brian Gill is
Potential
going to
next
come
Messi
from
could
Sevilla.
be next Boyan as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think Brian Hill in at Sevilla, he was a fantastic player, and to get him in a
I'm
swap for
sorry.
Lamela is
Yep.
not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. I know why you all suddenly stupidly interested in your televisions, but yeah,
Yeah.
football right now, boys.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming back to this, whole concept. I feel Nuno Espirito Santo is, personally speaking, is not an inspired managerial signing for me. I don't
Yeah.
understand what
He was
position
the
or
11th choice
what.
manager for Spurs after a bunch of people rejected. That was quite the saga of the summer. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't
And
know.
I think it's all
अगर आपके 11, if you're going that far down the list, I would generally go to somewhere like the Austrian Bundesliga or go to the German Bundesliga and someone who's lower down the pecking order and stuff like that and get them in and maybe try to build an identity of the club like what I feel like Wolves have done with their
Yep.
new manager. I think he plays very attacking football. Wolves are trying to change the way they look at football because Nuno was a pretty defensive manager. He's good enough to probably keep a team in the league. Will he inspire the type of football maybe Spurs supporters want? I don't know. But let's see. Let's see. He's very much in the Jose Mourinho mold. He's not in the Mauricio Pochettino mold, is what I'll want to say. That is all. And Baki, yeah, dekha jayega. Let's see how it goes. My prediction is probably a 4-1 because City tend to maybe concede one once in a while. It's a new season. They might concede. They lost to, mind you, they lost to Leicester. And
Yep.
for me, Leicester versus Wolves is a better match. To be honest,
Totally.
it's a more competitive match in this weekend compared to City versus Spurs. But yeah, that's my 2 bits on City and Spurs.
Yeah.
I
Then
think
We'll have guests for City and Spurs, not biased
yeah.
people like me talking. So I'm sure
yeah.
you
No, but
guys
I
will get to
think
hear better
yeah,
opinions.
yeah. Just one point on Spurs. I think what you said about Nuno being the 11th manager in their list, I think that's purely down to the fact that, whichever manager comes in, the first question he's probably going to ask is, can I build my team? And they have no money. They have this huge stadium that they've invested money in. They need to pay back that debt first, and they just have nothing in the bank. Which is also why I think Harry Kane will leave. I think they have no
Yep.
option. He's going to push
Also,
as much
also,
as he can. Yeah,
also over that,
yeah,
Also, you
haven't
can't trust Levy, can you? You can't trust Levy to spend that 160 or maybe even 60 million out of it wisely. We saw what happened last time. They got a massive fee for a player in Gareth Bale and he replaced them with what his 7 crown jewels were. I think
yeah.
Ericsson was probably the only one who actually worked out for him. And that's the thing with Daniel Levy. He just doesn't look like someone who can inspire even something out of a massive transfer fee, right? I mean, he might get that 160 out of Kane,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
even
it's
if
it's
he
not
has
just
60
Daniel
out of
Levy,
that,
isn't it? I
he
mean,
can't
it's
spend
it's
it.
it's down to a lot of scouting, and there are plenty of things that Spurs have been wrong at, haven't they? Yeah. So that you were saying something.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know what this arithmetic around them wanting to keep Harry Kane is all about because they've already spent what 85 million in this window
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
And I think I still believe they need to. They're thinking to add more depth in that midfield. I don't think that midfield is still filled with the kind of players as they want. Uh, with a few aging now and probably seeing their way out. So I think eventually they will have to say sell Harry Kane if City go with that 150 million bid because it's now or never. If they sell him now, they'll get that money. If they don't, I don't think they're gonna earn that much at all.
Yes,
You're right.
it's quite the predicament for Tottenham Hotspur, and the first game is not it's not any saving grace as well. So we'll start with the predictions of all the games that we discussed and all the teams that we've discussed and their first games. Starting with Tottenham and Spurs, Kushagra has given his verdict, not a number, but if you could start with that.
I think it's gonna be. I'll reduce it. I'll go to a 3-1, not a 4-1. -2 goal difference rather than -3.
He's done a huge favor there. Yeah, Sushil.
Yeah, I actually think it'll be 2-0 or 3-1 or something like that. I think it'll be comfortable for City.
Sid.
So I think they'll be battered. I don't see the situation around Harry Kane changing at all. And that's a big, massive hole. That's probably their only chance being thrown away. So
Uh, And
yeah,
and Siddharth, worst case scenario, Harry Kane doesn't play at all. He's not even on the squad list.
yeah. So
That's
3-0.
very much possible,
I
isn't it?
think the minimum prediction that I'm giving, or
Yep.
either they go with a six defender, still lose 3-0. I don't see anything else happening in this.
You can expect no to do that. Yeah, Prathamesh.
At the risk of sounding controversial, 1-0 Tottenham.
He was waiting for this. He just wanted to do it at any cost.
Zabardasti.
So yeah, that was a popular fixture. So I came to every one of you for that prediction. Prathamesh, United prediction, the game between Leeds and Manchester United. Sorry. Yeah,
Uh, 3-1 to United. I don't see it going any other way.
lovely. Sushil, Liverpool Norwich.
4-0 for Liverpool. That's typically what they do on the opening weekend. I think 3 out of the last 6
Yeah.
seasons or something, it's been 4-0. So I'll go with that. That's a safe
Uh,
bet.
on one occasion it was 4-3, but yeah, fine.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that was yeah.
yeah. So that Chelsea Crystal Palace.
I see a hard fought maybe 2-1 victory. I'm not. I- I'm not. I don't think it's going to be a repeat of the last two pictures or what the last few years have been. I think it's going to be a very hard fought one.
Yeah, and Katie, you've just spoken about Leicester having a very exciting game, and also at the sound of sounding a little controversial. I mean, not controversial, but you did mention that was going to be a more interesting game. So your prediction on the Leicester Wolves game?
For sure. I think just 10 seconds on Leicester. I think
Yeah,
they're probably economically and aesthetically speaking, they're the best run club in England. And just look
absolutely.
at
Yep.
their squad. Look at their squad building. I think Brendan Rodgers has earned my respect. After that spell at Liverpool. So I
Two
think I think
trophies,
Leicester
man.
yeah,
Yeah,
Leicester should do the business against Wolves. I think they've got a very good squad. Just look at that. Fofana got injured. They already have Vestergaard in. So
yep.
I think Leicester to win 2-0 because I think Wolves will still be, settling in with the new
Yep.
manager and everything.
And all the big European clubs, they were looking at Salzburg's Patson Daka. Not no more. He's no longer belonging to Salzburg. All the big clubs were looking at him as a potential. He's the next.
Even Sumari.
Exactly. And all the big clubs are looking at these youngsters, and these people have picked up Leicester. They're not going to stay there for a long time, obviously. But what a great start for them, and what great signing for the club as well. That's so Leicester, massive kudos to what business they have done. I think they're going to be a very exciting prospect. And I was watching a few of the Premier League experts giving the predictions, and a lot of them are expecting them to finish top four. Uh, I mean, at the expense of some of the favorites, but you never know with Leicester. Uh, that's about it from us, guys. In our next podcast, we're going to be talking about Arsenal. There's plenty to talk about Arsenal. We are also going to talk about Lionel Messi and what's going to happen with him and PSG. Will they once again? Will they go for that CL crown, which oh my God, Nasser Al Khelafi has been looking for that crown for so long. He's done everything in his power to do that. He's got, I think this is the greatest free transfer window I've ever seen from any club in the history of football.
Any
He's
club in the
gotten
World Cup, yeah.
Wijnaldum, uh, Donnarumma at the age of freaking 22, one of the best players. The first keeper to win the Player of the Tournament award at Euro. He's gotten him. He's got Lionel Messi, and Siddharth couldn't care less.
He's got
Yes,
Ramos.
and he's
But
signed.
but
Yeah,
no, one thing you should say is Messi just fell into their lap. I don't think there
yeah.
was any genius around that
Yeah.
at all.
There wasn't, but
Yeah,
the first, but
It was a nice gift by Barcelona.
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. But
exactly.
the first three were decent. I mean, even if it wasn't his to his credit, but PSG have gotten those players, and you still have to call it the greatest free transfer window. And add to it, they have Achraf Hakimi. We are going to talk about that at length in our next podcast as well. And yeah, I think we have a few more other big Premier League clubs to discuss. Until then, thank you so much for joining on Sports John. Keep it logged. We're going to be discussing the Premier League. We're going to be talking a lot about the India England series in the coming days. So keep it logged. Thank you so much.